Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Al,
And my name is Cody.
and we're here today to talk about farming games.
Woo!
Farming games.
Heck yeah.
Hi, Cody. How you doing?
Hi. How's it going?
It's going. I'm asleep right now. For some reason, we're recording this like 5 a.m. my time. And it doesn't help.
Midnight my time.
It doesn't. It doesn't help that Nathan decided to wake us up at 3 a.m. So yeah, we're going good so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
All good. Again, let's
it
just
is a new day.
yeah, and it's a Monday. I mean, at least it is.
Oof.
At least it's summer now, so that like it's light outside, so it doesn't feel like it's the middle of the night as it does in the winter.
Is it at least like a little warmer there?
Yeah, it's like 10 degrees just now. It's not bad.
Okay. I got 10 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. That's 50 degrees. Wow.
Wow, don't sound so.
Wow.
Look,
Yeah, you're going to have some decent weather today.
it's fine.
It's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain a lot. Wow, all you have is
Wait, are you looking at
rain in the
my
forecast
weather?
there. I think so.
That's a bit weird. Yeah, it's actually
It's
interesting. It doesn't
it's
normally rain a huge amount here, so to get like
it is
rain multiple days in a row is
17
odd.
it's 17 degrees outside right now
At
here.
midnight,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's hot.
Anyway, we've got.
Also, have you seen the lunar eclipse? Did you
No,
get to
of
see the
course
lunar
I've not.
eclipse?
It's daylight here.
Okay.
It's
Well,
like I literally just
listeners, if you
told you it's daylight.
5 a.m. isn't daylight. Listeners, if you saw the lunar eclipse and you were excited about it like I am, find me on Twitter.
I mean,
Tell me about
I mean,
it.
I am excited about lunar eclipses, but I never see them in the summer. It literally, and to be fair, I never see them in the winter either because there's always clouds. But um,
You do have, I did just look at your weather. You have clouds right now, so
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to see it anyway.
yes, and also you keep forgetting it's daylight. I can literally see the sun. Well, I would be able to if there weren't for the clouds.
At 5 a.m.?
I don't think you quite realize how early it gets bright here in the summer. Like in the height of summer, it's like light at 3:30.
That is
It
weird.
never truly gets dark in the summer. Like you can be
My
outside and still
sunrise,
see like that faint light on the horizon. It doesn't really get dark.
wow. Sunrise here is at 6 a.m., and that's pretty much what it stays at.
Interesting. And then
Yeah.
in the winter we basically never see the sun.
Wow.
Anyway, I think we have a podcast to record. So
Welcome to
today we have
the weather station.
today we have a very exciting episode for you. One that has been many months in the making.
Mm-hmm.
We have an interview with the developer for APICO, L. So we recorded this. Oh goodness, was it February?
I think yeah, it's
Um,
been a couple months.
and knowing that we wouldn't know exactly when it would happen because game releases are fun. Anyway, we finally got information on when the game's coming out, and so we decided that this was going to be the episode for this. So yeah, we'll get to that later in the episode. First of all, well, before that, we're going to talk about some news. But first of all, Cody, what have you been playing?
I have been playing gardening in my outside garden
Oh,
simulator.
interesting.
No, I haven't really been playing much lately. I guess Pokemon Go. I did get a shiny Magikarp for the first time, and I was really excited about that. But then
Nice.
it was then it was a 0-star.
Oh,
And so then I mirror traded shiny Magikarps with my friend, and then it became a 2-star, but not great. So I've been enjoying the water event. I would like to play my Steam games. I'm really jonesing for like The Sims right now.
interesting.
But
Which one?
the problem, either 3 or 4. I have both of them. I don't even think I really got to play 4 because I bought it on Steam. maybe like a couple months ago. And then I realized that it's PC only and I have a Mac.
Rip.
I have a desktop, but it is not functioning right now. And I keep putting off fixing it. And so maybe I'll get that taken care of tomorrow. I don't know. But then I would be playing The Sims or Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is something I'm also jonesing to play right now.
Which one?
Which I also have. I have the second one for that.
And the best one.
Though I did see that Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is Mac playable the other day, and
interesting.
I'm tempted. But
I think 2 was the pinnacle of Roller Coaster Tycoon, personally.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'll wait, and then I'll just play it when I fix my desktop. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, not much on my end. Cool. What about you, Al? What have you been playing?
Also not a huge amount. The last couple of weeks have been quite busy. I've picked up the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game. So I haven't really started playing it, but I've kind of loaded it up, and I started for like 5 minutes, and then kids wanted attention, and I went, oh, fine, okay, sure. I guess I should probably give you some attention.
Yeah, children, man.
What they like. I can't remember. On the last episode, had I already finished Kirby? I think I had.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it on the Ruin Factory episode.
Well, I started playing the Stanley Parable Ultra, whatever it's called, Ultra Super Duper version, whatever it's called. I also started playing a game that we might be talking about soon, but I don't know whether I'm allowed to say that I've been playing that.
I will be playing that. Should we just jump straight into news and mention?
Sure, why not? Let's talk about some news. APICO.
Let's talk about some news.
We finally have a release date.
It's coming out.
Codey, when's it coming out?
In 4 days of recording.
Yeah,
but
tomorrow.
So May 20th. Tomorrow of release.
Oh no, 2 days. No, Friday. Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Dates. What are dates? Friday. It's coming out.
What are dates? Friday the 20th, which is also World Bee Day.
World Bee Day.
Bee.
I just realized the Bee Day sounds like bidet.
Oh, I thought birthday.
Oh no, I was thinking, Bee Day.
It's only being released currently on PC.
Yes.
Which would be Steam. Oh my gosh, I have not. Okay, it has. Never mind. I was gonna say I haven't checked to see if it's Mac playable, but I played the demo, so it must be Mac playable. Yeah. So it'll come out on consoles in the future, but currently it is. They're just releasing for PC, but I am super super excited. I know Elle was talking in the Discord about how they're also very excited, and that there's like things that were never in the demo that we're going to be seeing. And I am curious about what those are, and I want to know. So,
yes, they had originally planned to release them all at the same time, but turns out releasing for consoles, as we talk about in the interview 4 months ago, are fun. So they decided. I mean, who could say, oh, we shouldn't release on like, if they're at that opportunity. So they're still having some issues with consoles, but they will come soon.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, you should probably buy this twice anyway. So go buy it on PC and then buy it on your console.
That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get it on PC and then I'll get it on Steam so that I can play it while I'm taking baths.
I mean, sure.
Don't use your Switch in the bath, kids.
Yeah, that just sounds dangerous to me.
But I do. Or when you're trying to nap, like I'll like game while I'm pre-napping. And the great thing about the Switch is that you can take the controller pieces off, Joy-Cons off, and like lean your Switch on another pillow and then have the Joy-Cons like on your stomach under the blankets, and you can just be like in a really comfy position but still playing video games.
I mean, that doesn't sound comfy to me, but I mean, you do you.
I'm really excited to do that with APICO, which again, coming out on May 20th.
Go get it. And we will talk about that in the future.
Yeah. Something else coming to, that's not coming to Switch, but something that is coming to Switch.
Well, it is coming to Switch, just not on the 20th of May.
Correct. But something that is coming to Switch that we know of.
Ooblets.
Ooblets.
They have finally announced that it's coming to Switch. So I think previously they'd said that they would like it to come to Switch, but they'd never officially said, despite some websites reporting that they were officially coming. They weren't. Now it is officially coming to Switch. This was announced in the Indie Showcase last week. And yeah, so it's coming summer 2022. So they've said that later this summer we'll be leaving early access, hitting 1.0 and coming to Switch all at the same time. We don't have a firm date just yet, since there's still some work left to do and certifications to get through. Once we have a firmer grasp on it, we'll be sure to let everyone know. So, if you have been wanting to play Ooblets but waiting for either the 1.0 release or on Switch, you'll be able to do it in, well, presumably a couple of months.
Or if you've been waiting for both of those things like I have.
Yeah.
Then you could also, I'm so excited. This is something I know that when Bev had talked about it, they were like they really enjoyed Ooblets. And it also just looks really cute. And so I'm excited to finally be able to play this. But I am also very excited that it has some time between APICO's release and this, because I know I'm going to dive into APICO really deep.
Yes, it's good it wasn't a shadow drop.
Yeah. Because then I'd have to fight, but no, I wouldn't. I'd just do APICO. But
yeah, I'm very excited for this as well, because I got it on as soon as it launched in early access on Epic. But as we've discussed before, I don't tend to game very much on my PC, because I just don't like the controls and having to have a big chunky thing and blah 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 blah. So I look forward to buying it on Switch and playing it on the couch while watching TV.
You also do quite a bit of your like work on the computer, correct? And so that's, you don't want to mix and like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think the thing is that most of my gaming time I do like in the lounge after the kids are in bed. Me and Rona will sit and watch some mindless TV and game, and I don't
lounge.
Living room. I don't know what would you call it?
Living room, probably. Okay. The room where everyone sits and watches TV.
Yeah, the room with there's couches and a TV, and that's all that we really care about in that room. We'll generally just sit and watch some mindless TV and game, and I don't really want to have to get my laptop out because it's less flexible, and I just don't like the controls very much, and blah blah blah. So I was wondering whether I might have to get a Steam Deck to play this in a better way, but no, it's coming to Switch. Woo-hoo.
Also, wouldn't be able to get a Steam Deck.
Well, yes. Exactly.
They are hard to get right now.
Yeah, I had a look on, there's like a big secondhand store in the UK that does stuff, and I was like, wonder how much they're selling them for just now. Oh, double the price. Okay.
Yep.
Right, that's a no then.
Yeah, Jeff was looking at one and he's like, oh, look, I can get one in September. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and that's if you're lucky. Let's be honest, it's not going to be that early.
Correct.
I actually have one on pre-order for my brother-in-law. We got him it as a present, and I think I ordered it like 6 hours after pre-orders went live. And yeah, it's currently scheduled for Q3, so sometime between July and September.
Oh my gosh.
And that was on the first day that pre-orders went live. Dear, fun times.
Yeah.
Cloud Gardens coming to Switch, but it has been delayed. So I think it was meant to release on the 12th of May, and then the day before they had an issue, and so they had to delay it. So they've said it's due to a minor back-end issue. So they don't have a new date. So presumably they're wanting to fix it before they actually announce their new date, because they don't want to have to delay again, which is a very sensible thing to do.
Very true. I mean, it looks pretty.
Yes. I can't remember whether I bought this game on Steam or not, but it was certainly in my wish list, so maybe I'll switch over to buying it on Switch. Hey, Switch.
Yep.
So here's an interesting one. I still haven't seen this anywhere on the internet, but I got an email from Chibi, because I'm on their mailing list. I got an email saying that Ancora Lost Days is releasing in July. but they don't seem to have posted it anywhere else. So I'm very confused about this, whether this was like an accidental early release or like I'm very confused about this.
Yeah, I don't really see.
Like when I just did a Google again because I wanted to double check, but and nothing has this. It's all the old information. So it might be coming in July, or it might not be. I
It,
don't know.
yeah, this like thing that I found just says that was on Twitter the most recently just says in 2022, but it doesn't say
Yeah.
when.
This is after the amazing
So,
Kickstarter campaign we made last year. I can now officially announce that we'll be able to start our adventure together across Ancora on July. And that's all it says. So I don't know.
maybe like someone hacked the email and was like,
Yeah, I mean it's the proper mailing list using the same mailing list app they use to the same email address that it's meant to be to.
someone that wants it to come out hacked the email and said that, and so now they have to scramble and make it happen.
Yeah, I think it was meant to come out in April, and they said they needed to delay it, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. We'll keep you up to date if they ever decide to announce it anywhere else other than just the mailing list, or maybe it isn't even just a mail. Maybe it's just to me. Has someone just sent me that email? I don't know. Because I've not even seen anything in the Discord. Like nobody in the Discord is saying, "Hey, what's the deal with this?" So I'm very confused.
Well, why don't you do that?
I guess I could, yeah. Don't laugh at me. That's so mean.
FarmCon.
FarmCon.
So, Farming Simulator, this is the newest Farming Simulator. They have like a or a convention that you can that has like players, people that mod the game, and the developers of Farming Simulator. And so they have on July 21st, they have an international online kickoff. So like anyone virtually can join that. And then there will be an on-site convention as well, but they don't really say where.
Yeah, they haven't said where the site is, just on site. What site doesn't matter.
Yeah, so it's July 23rd and 24th of this year. But yeah, they're gonna give more information. And there's a link in the show notes for the date, for the information for that if you are interested or if you go to FarmCon. I personally have not played a farming simulator yet. Have you, Al?
No. Of course
We
not.
should probably do that at some point.
So it looks like the
I did.
last FarmCon was in 2019 and it was held in Germany, which is I think where the developers are based. So.
That makes sense. I did almost get that farming simulator or like the farming humble bundle.
Oh yeah.
That had farming simulator or the simulation humble bundle, I think it was, which now that I'm looking at it, I guess it had farming simulator 17.
Oh, that's okay.
Which
yeah
is $15 on Steam.
I think I'm pretty sure I do own at least one version of Farming Simulator. But yeah, I've never actually played it. I don't. I think part of the problem is I don't have any interest in like real life stuff like that. Because part of the reason I play games is to not be real life, and so when you bring real life into it, I'm less bothered.
See, that's why I really like The Sims, because in The Sims I can own a house, and that's never going to happen in real life. So, and I can make it whatever I want, and like it only takes like 2 paychecks for me to like my bills are affordable, you know? It's just
Is it just called Past the Simulator?
if you were born in the 1950s, The Simulator. Millennial existential dread, The Simulator.
Yeah. So I just checked, and yeah, I have Farming Simulator 19, I think. Yeah, 19.
Okay, that's only $20 on Steam.
But I've not played it. Apparently, it must have been free on Epic at some point because I've got it on Epic.
Well, at some point, maybe I'll get it on Steam, like if we want to cover it, and then that can be the one that we, since you already have it, that can
we'll
be the
play
one that we do.
a 2-year-old game
Yeah, you know.
when there's new. I mean, it's 2-year-old game is not bad, but it's the fact that it's a 2-year-old game when there is a newer version of it.
I mean, I feel like these games, like, it's like whenever the new Madden games come out, or like NBA 2K 40 bajillion, like, it's literally the same thing. Like, you're gonna play basketball. And
Wait, why are you playing
all the
basketball in
changes.
Farming Simulator?
No, NBA 2K, whatever.
Am I meant to know what NBA
I mean,
is? I'm being facetious. I know it.
um,
National
the
Baseball Association.
baseball.
Yeah, that's what the B stands for, isn't it?
Are you serious?
No, of course I'm not serious. I do sometimes wonder, like,
He's totally serious, you guys.
I do find it funny though, because like all these American sports have like their 3-letter acronyms, and I always have to think, what on earth
Oh,
is
yeah.
that one? Like NHL, I think
Right.
is like hockey. Is it?
Yep, correct. What about MLB?
That's baseball.
MLS.
MLS.
Correct.
S.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I couldn't even tell you what MLB stands for, but is it similar? Is it S instead
So
of B?
MLB is Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball. What's Major
So MLS.
Major League.
Would it help if I said MLF?
Nope.
Trying to think of other ways.
What sport begins with S? Or was the other one you said F? Like football?
F. Correct. So what's...
Oh, soccer.
Yeah, it's soccer.
Ah.
Major League Soccer.
What is Major League? Why are so many things called Major League something?
I think it's because like there's other leagues. So there's like in and I'm gonna butcher this because I don't sports. So but like there's like Little League, and then there's the minor leagues.
Oh,
So like Little League is like kids playing
this
it.
is just like how, you know, we've got like stupid names of things here as well. So like I can't remember what they are in Scotland, but like in England you've got the Premier League, and then the Championship, and then the First Division, Second Division nonsense. None of it makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, except that major, minor, and little kind of makes sense. But
Well, no,
yeah.
because minor and little are the same thing.
But minor is like just the baby of major, and then little is like the kids. So minor league is still.
Wait, is there an
adults.
official kids league?
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't I don't think it's like televised or anything. But
I wasn't thinking
yeah.
it was.
Anyway, we got way on topic.
NFL. That's the American football one, right?
That's the American football one that it should be called hand egg. You barely ever touch your foot.
Well,
to the
so
ball.
here's an interesting...
It's not even a ball.
No, so here's an interesting thing, right? Okay, so, well, first of all, balls don't have to be a sphere. Secondly, I actually apparently the name football originally comes from the fact that they're on foot. So instead of polo. So they're not on horse, they're on foot. Because it's the same with like rugby is actually called rugby football.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
That just like pops my whole hand egg
Sorry.
thing that I've talked about for like 10 years at this point.
It's all right. It's like when people complain about Americans calling football soccer. It was actually an English person who invented the word soccer.
Just sowing some anarchy. Love it.
Yeah. I think we should just
Here's one for you.
just ban the word
What is-
football, and everything should be like something football to make it more obvious
Yeah.
and clear.
Like so it's American football.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Soccer football.
Here's one for you, Al. Here's one. LBZ. What sport is that?
Let's build a zoo.
It's the sport of building a zoo.
They've got dinosaurs now.
They're so cute. Except that like in the video they put a dinosaur in with giraffes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, excuse me.
So there is actually, I don't know if we talked about this in the episode that we did, but there's like when you put something in, you can put any animal in any other animal's enclosure, but there is like if they don't interact well, they will kill each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the thing that I was scared about when I saw them drop a T-Rex or whatever it is
exactly.
into
Like,
the giraffe exhibit.
When you select a thing and you're going to put an animal in it, it tells you like, is this an appropriate habitat for them? Is there danger to them? Is there danger to anyone else? That sort of stuff. So presumably that's just part of that issue. So yeah, that those giraffe gonna die.
Yeah, or weird twist of events, the T-Rex is gonna die and you've discovered carnivorous giraffes.
I mean, you never know, because the fun thing is because the interesting thing about Let's Build a Zoo is the crossbreeding. You can crossbreed the dinosaurs with the animals as well. So you could have a Giraffe-rex. and why not?
Oh my gosh.
So they're going from 300,000 total crossbreeds to, I think they said over a million, like millions now, because obviously they're
over 10 million.
10 million,
yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, so it's
50
quite
new
insane.
animal species and 10 million new variants. It's absolutely bonkers. Also, they mentioned that someone. So this is obnoxious. This person's Twitter handle is Shawnee. Well, so their name is Shawnee, but their Twitter handle is Sauchney. It's just it messes with my like dyslexic tendencies. But anyways, they said Shahani, whatever their name is, said bring this game to the Switch, please. And No More Robots, the people who make Let's Build a Zoo, said it's coming. Don't worry. So
I think that's the first confirmation that is happening.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I included that tweet. You got it. It's important. You got to check the replies to tweets to get the real news.
Thank you to Sahini for asking the real questions.
Oh dear.
My time at Porsche.
Yeah, something I don't know if you care about the game, but something you'll like in general is that it's now available for Mac.
Yeah, using Mac, putting things on Mac.
Macs. I don't think there's anything else to say about that.
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Mac.
I think a lot of this stuff, the next couple news are going to hit quick.
Yeah, we got Moonstone Island. We got the first indication of a release date for that. Again, looking in the replies, someone asked if they had a release date, and they've said sometime in 2023. So I've updated my spreadsheet.
Always important.
Of course. It's getting a bit out of hand. There's like 50 games I'm tracking in there.
But you need to, it's better than using like sticky notes or something.
Oh, sure. But the question is whether I need to do this.
Spreadsheet's way better. Yes, of course.
I can delete one. That's good. Harvest Days is out now. Forgot about that. Oh, well, in early access.
Are you sure it's not a closed beta?
Yes.
Closed access? Early beta?
Above Snakes. Speaking of
Alpha!
Stupid names, they have not the game, the pre-release name. It's transitioning from pre-alpha to alpha for some reason. There we go. I wonder what arbitrary point they decided to change the name. They don't explain.
Can't wait for post-alpha.
Oh.
Post-alpha's the real
post-alpha pre-beta.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
They do have some cool stuff in here though. There's like a new tile system that randomly generates these really cool like biomes.
The transition biomes. So you don't just go from one to the other. You can have tiles that are half and half.
Though anyone who's driven from Wyoming to Colorado from this one particular route, I think it's like right off of 70, will know that sometimes when you go into a new area, it literally feels like you just changed biomes.
You just walked onto a new tile.
Yeah, so like Wyoming is like open and flat and like, I don't know, just more expansive. And then you enter into Colorado and suddenly there's like hills and mountains and like all these trees and stuff. And it's just like I've come on to, and you literally like right when you hit the tree line, there's like a welcome to Colorado sign. And I'm like, what?
You drive over the border and suddenly you're a mile up in the air.
Yeah, it's so weird. It does happen in real life, but it's cool that they are mixing it.
That's funny.
The tile aesthetic also looks pretty good. Like they've updated it.
The graphics do look very, very nice now. Not that they looked bad before, but it's one of these things where it's like when you put them side by side, you're like, oh wow, yeah, okay.
One thing that bothers me is that in the second picture for the new cooking system, syrup is spelled with an I instead of a Y.
Oh no.
And it makes me curious about what
Is that deliberate,
it
do you
is.
think?
That's what I'm curious about.
Intriguing.
It just added more questions,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, what?
Many questions.
But yeah, no, looks really nice. So, glad that they're continuing, or like they're making progress on it. So, looks good.
We have 3 Kickstarters that we've previously talked about that are now over. Spells and Secrets, Puff Pals, and Sprout Valley. They are all over and all got funded. And I think all of them hit like a significant number of their stretch goals. Certainly Sprout Valley did, and no. Puff Pals and Spells and Secret did. And I think Sprout Valley hit a couple of them, including they've now confirmed that they're having a Switchport as well.
Yeah. Looking for the farming in Spells and Secrets.
Well, look. I'm sure there'll be farming in there, is my point.
It looks.
Look, I'm
like
not saying
game.
it's a farming game. It's made by Roca Play, who make other games that we've covered. So that's kind of.
It also just looks like a really nice game.
If you want a Wizards game that isn't Hogwarts Legacy, there you go.
I mean, this sure looks. It gives me the Hogwarts feel, without the baggage
transphobia.
of J.K. Rowling.
Also without the problematic storyline of a slave underclass that is trying to revolt, and you're meant to put them down.
Yes.
No.
Love that for us.
Yeah.
I can't believe Puff Pals got over $2.5 million.
So much money. How did this? This is fascinating. Like, I mean, it's a really
they had a
lovely
$75,000 goal.
42,000 people backed this game.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it does look really, really cute.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. However.
Yes, why did this catch on? Like, so many games don't. I have no idea.
Yeah. Mac won't have alpha testing. What the heck?
Rip.
But I also didn't back it. So, look at the possum. Okay. And then, yeah, Sprout Valley also looked pretty neat. The end.
Yeah. I agree. Cool. So.
And that was the news.
That's the news.
Woo.
So, as mentioned earlier in the episode, we're now going to smoothly transition into our APICO interview. So, the context for this is it was in February. So, if anything's out of date, I haven't actually listened to it since we recorded it. I need to edit that at some point. I can't remember whether there's anything out of date. Anyway, we obviously talk about the fact that we don't know when the game's coming out. We now do. It's coming out on Friday. And yeah, hopefully we had a lot of fun interviewing Elle, and hopefully you enjoy listening to it.
Yeah, enjoy.
Well, we are now joined by the developer of APICO. So I would like you to introduce yourself. What's your name, and what are your pronouns?
Hey, I'm Elle, he, him.
Okay, so the next super important question is, do you think that a hot dog is a sandwich?
I saw this one, and I do, because I think anything can be a sandwich with the right attitude. But actually there is there's like a family in-joke that my parents always take the piss out of me because I just put everything in a sandwich. So we'll have like a stew, like a casserole, and I'll just put the dumplings in a bit of bread, like on the side. So yeah, everything's a sandwich.
So your definition is that if it is encased in bread,
I think as long as bread's kind of vaguely involved, I don't think it has to be encased.
So what about bread pudding?
Near it.
Is bread pudding a sandwich?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's kind of like
it's a deconstructed sandwich.
Like a hipster sandwich. That'd be like 15 quid in London.
I love this.
a slightly less controversial question, which apparently Cody needed to be added to the questions, is who's your favourite Eurovision artist?
Oh, what was the one last year? Iceland with the jump.
Oh, yeah,
No.
Daddy Freya and the something. Can't remember the band's name.
Better one was.
Yeah,
I
with-
don't know who this is. I haven't got time to check Spotify, but
Yeah, I think it's Daddy Freya. It's the
Yeah.
10 years, right?
yeah, them the Iceland group are always they're just bops all the time.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have tickets to go see a concert from them in June,
That's incredible.
Oh, that's so awesome.
so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, that song made it to my Spotify playlist, like my normal playlist. Shum's, Go A Shum, also made it to my Spotify playlist. And then this year I have added pretty much the entirety of Eskimo Cowboy.
Does it count considering they're not going to be in Eurovision?
We don't talk about that, Al. We Got the Moves is better than whatever other bullcrap Germany's putting forward. So
Okay,
I don't know who the people are.
fair enough.
oh, it's the bop that it's the bop that's like, so last year was their bop where they had music it was like a mixture of 80s music and like screaming.
That sounds great.
And it was like a workout. It was like a 80s workout video, but there was also like really harsh vocals because I listened like on the regular. I listened to like deathcore, metalcore.
Just nice,
a lot of scream,
chilled
scream.
music for your chilled farm games.
Yeah, that's what I need, you know. Okay, so we've all talked about our Eurovision artists. So Elle, what is your history with playing games in general, but also like specifically farming games?
So for playing games, when I was growing up, I remember my friend had like the old Game Boy, and I think that was probably the first thing I played, like the black and white one. And then I remember our first console me and my brother got was at like my primary school at the time had like a boot fair, and someone was selling a SNES for £5, which they're definitely not £5 now.
That's a deal.
Yeah, and it came with a bunch of games, and I think at the time our mum had given us both £2.50 each.
Wow.
So
Just
we
in
were
there.
like, oh my god, if we combine forces, we can buy this thing. And mum was furious that we had spent all our money on this grey box. But yeah, we was playing that all the time, and then it ended up getting like a Mega Drive, and finally they gave in and got a PC at one point, but all we was allowed was like educational games, like what is it, like the Adventures of Dr. Brain or whatever it was. It's some mad stuff that when I talk to people about, they're like, that can't have been a real game. Just this weird fever dream of educational games. But yeah, that was kind of what sort of started it all. For farming games, I would say, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this on this podcast.
no.
I have never played Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley.
Oh my word!
Ever.
Never.
Like I haven't even. I couldn't even tell you what happens. Farming, I assume. I don't know
even
any.
even in 2017 or 2018, the peak of Stardew Valley, you didn't even go, I want to see what this is about.
No, and and what's worse now is like making APICO. Obviously, I get a lot of people being like, "Oh, it's similar to Stardew Valley." So now I'm like, I probably shouldn't play it, just in case I like subconsciously steal things and then like reinforce people thinking that I've just ripped off Stardew, but just on bees. When actually I've just never played this game.
Impressive.
So yeah, I'm sorry about that, but the closest I'd get to farming, I'd say, is Terraria with the little herbs that you farm for crops.
Yeah, that's a good
and
game.
Minecraft, but that's kind of block farming, I guess.
We did an episode on Minecraft, so it counts.
Okay, yeah. If it's been on the podcast, then
Well, it's probably a bit of a dangerous thing to say because we also did an episode on Pokemon, and I'm not really sure that counts as a farming game.
I guess it's like XP farming.
No,
like
it was the
how
berries,
abstract
the
can we
berry
take
farming that
farming?
It was the berry farming we were specifically talking about. But
Oh yeah, I did like that in Gold. That was fun.
yeah,
Little berries.
yeah.
So I will interject here for a second just to say two things. So first of all, for American people that don't know what the heck the UK currencies are, £5 is about $6. Because I was like, I don't know what this means. And then the second thing is like, so if you are not playing like these farming games, like what are the kind of games that you normally play that are that you're normally like drawn to?
So outside of probably like Terraria is probably and Minecraft are probably the two that I've logged the most, like in general out of. Since making games, I don't play games anymore, which is a shame. But I think that's just what happens. Last thing I played that I really did enjoy was Bloodborne.
Okay.
It's very much not a farming game. I guess a farming game of blood. And then, what did I play recently that I loved? It was on Switch. Oh, Blasphemous. That was a great game. It's normally quite Dark Soulsy, hard, violent games, which is then probably surprising that I then make this very cutesy, green, fun, kid-friendly game.
You planning on
yeah,
picking
it's
up
clearly
Elden
well.
Ring or?
I think I will. I'll probably wait, let them do some fixes and get the main stuff out of the way, and probably wait for the wiki to get a bit more
Yeah, fair.
fleshed out. Because some of the, knowing what they're like with Dark Souls, some of the quests will be like, if you didn't look at this person at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
while holding a sausage, then you'll never get that achievement. And it's like, okay, great. Well, I was never going to know that. I need some sort of nerd to have filled that in on the wiki for me.
Yeah, yeah. I've never played a Souls game, but looking at everything that people have been saying about Elden Ring over the last few days has just reinforced the idea I don't want to play it.
Yeah, there's like a video at the moment of someone like dying on the first boss. Like, immediately, and just like, this isn't a fun game? It's like, no, they're not fun games at all, but I love playing them.
I mean, each to their own. It's not for me, but I'm glad that people like it. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you're making a video game just now. Is this your first one? Have you got many previous games that you've made? You know, what's your history with making video games?
So yeah, this is my first. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think anyone ever does, but I definitely, as much not knowing what I'm doing as you could possibly get right now. I tried making games a few times before. Like me and my brother, we're obviously like obsessed with video games. Got our hands on that £5 SNES, but we would always like talk about game ideas, and whenever we play games, we would also we would like try and discuss like, oh, how would we do that differently, or wouldn't it be better if they had, changed this? Think like, oh, how easy it would be, to make a game and not do it that way. So we'd always kind of talked about it, but yeah, I never really had any time. At first, I never really had any of the skills for it because I was never like a developer. I used to be a designer, so I couldn't even kind of get started with it. I remember using Game Maker a long, long time ago, probably when I was a teenager. It was called Yo-Yo Game Maker, and it was like drag and drop. So I remember trying stuff with that, and then, nothing really came of that. The only reason I got stuck in was actually because of COVID, and I got furloughed, which in the UK, that was basically the government kind of paid your wages while you couldn't work. So I was just kind of sitting on my hoop, not really doing anything for like a month. And then I was like, actually, like I'm going to be here for a few months, so I could probably actually try and make a game for once, when before I've just kind of never had the time or kind of the skills, because I do software development now. So I was like, I could probably kind of, try it again, and this time see what happens.
Fair enough. Well, quite a game to start off with about bees, but we'll get into that later.
I ignored all the advice of make a small game, but I think as well it's because I didn't kind of intend to make it like for people. It was more I kind of wanted to make a game that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then after kind of making the demo and then other people wanted to play this game, I was like, no, I don't want to do anything serious with it. I just wanted this to be a thing. So it kind of grew from there, like unintentionally, and then added so much to it that in hindsight, I'm like, it could have been like half the size easily for the first game. I didn't need to. I didn't need to do this.
But you're in it now.
It's too late now.
And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful.
Oh, thank you.
So the next question is, what is your average day like? Like, what do you do?
The answer is allowed to be there is no average day, but
I was me. I'm just kind of looking around, sitting in my pajamas, like, what do I do? No, for the most part, I do software development, kind of freelance bits and bobs. That's me then paying the bills. So I'd probably do a bit of that in the morning, and then kind of try and have that afternoon as like game dev time. Because I think I always did just software dev purely, but since starting game dev, I was like, no, like this is definitely what I want to do. Like I love this as much as I hate it sometimes. This is, there's I've never worked on something that I've been like, I do kind of love this. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep the day separate of like do some real work in the morning and then do some game dev in there. But the rest of the time, I have too many plants. I'm like crazy cat lady, but plants. So
what kind of plants?
Oh, everything. Just any sort of plant that you can imagine. From like, you get like the little cheap ones you'll find in like a Sainsbury's or a Tesco, to just going down the garden centre and being like, I'm going to buy myself 10 plants today. And I live on my own, so there's no one to stop me. There's no, like, I don't have any limit control, and people come round like bit by bit trying to get in through this jungle. So yeah, that keeps me busy.
So absolutely no pressure at all, but a future game that I would appreciate
Go on.
is like an Animal Crossing style, like real-time game where the time in the game is the time of the actual world, but like you have houseplants.
It's APICO,
and you have
plants.
to take care of them. Yeah, because I developed my grandmother's black thumb.
Right.
And I kill everything. And I don't want to. So I have houseplants. I have like a monstera and a pothos and like a couple other like really pretty little plants, and they just slowly but surely die. And I never know what I'm doing wrong.
Whereas if it was digital,
I feel like if there was a game, well, also like if there was a game that was like, oh, your monstera needs to be watered only like twice a month versus this other one needs it like kind of every day, and like, oh look, your monstera is getting like yellow, that means that XYZ is happening, or like, oh right, it's time
you
to
don't
do
want
this.
a game,
like,
you want a to-do list.
Yeah, you want someone to tell you when to water your plants.
but in a game. Like I think you could make it where it's like educational.
Yeah.
And then also it's like if I were to want to do a new plant, then I could just add it in the game and figure out how the heck I'm supposed to take care of it, and then get it and be like, I know.
Oh, exactly like once you get a virtual monstera, and then once you've like past level 5 looking after one, the game's like you're actually now allowed to buy one, and we won't come after you when you kill it.
This is what I need, because there's so much like. When my plants start dying, I'm like, none of them have actually like one hundo died. So like, but I just don't know what the heck I'm doing. And so if I had a game that was like, you've hit level 5, go ahead and go buy yourself a monstera, but like keep taking care of this one too.
It's might like not kill everything.
It's like those dolls you get that are meant to say whether you can look after a kid or not.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Those are horrifying.
Which is really funny because that's not how kids work.
No, you also can't just take the batteries out of your kid and put them in a drawer.
Well, you probably can, but I think it's illegal.
Yeah, I think possibly the police might have some problems with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just don't take my word on it. But
the problem with kids is if you take their battery out, you can't put it back in.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
That's the real flaw.
Okay. Well, no. Yeah, no pressure, but if you want to design this.
Okay, just a
houseplant
Codey,
simulator.
Stop Killing Your Plants, the video game.
maybe let him finish a game first.
Cody, this is how you...
Crazy idea.
Yeah. Let me try and finish one. Just one. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. I started a second one already, so...
That's always the way to go.
fun.
It's, I'm a software developer as well, and my GitHub is just a graveyard of dead projects that are unfinished.
Yeah. I love starting something. Ooh, love a start of a project. Finishing it.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely.
To do
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking about APICO, your game, could you give us a quick overview of the game? We're in a lift. We'll go with lift because you're not American as well. So you're in a lift. That's elevator for our American listeners. And you need to sell your game to me. Go.
So I will give you the usual spiel, which is APICO is a laid-back beekeeping sim game about breeding, collecting, and conserving bees. So you got a bunch of islands, all populated with different bees, and it's kind of like resource gathering, some beekeeping mini games, actual biology and science that we sneak in, and you're like, wait, this is just school but in a game. And then kind of goes into more fantasy stuff, like we've got magical bees and bees that live in the water and like a bee dimension. Like it gets a bit crazy towards the end, but yeah, at the core it was trying to have sort of casual game where it's all themed around beekeeping, but also like the processes of actually looking after the hives and extracting the frames to get the honey, like trying to do that side of things. Yeah, that's basically what it is. And I've been told to say it's like Stardew Valley with bees, which is meaningless to me.
I mean,
I don't know the game.
it's kind of a funny sentence as well because Stardew Valley has bees. I wouldn't say that they're detailed.
Like do they do the classic, like it's just a hive that spits out honey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's slightly more detailed than that. I think you can plant flowers near it and it will change what the honey is or like how the honey is developed.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's very, very shallow because obviously Stardew Valley is much more about the plants and the living in general rather than the bees. But it does exist. So yeah, saying Stardew Valley with bees is like almost like somebody doesn't know that bees are in the game.
Which works because I don't.
I think I don't know if I would. I don't think I would have told someone that it's Stardew Valley with
I think
bees.
just not enough people have played enough casual, because this is what streamers kind of call it, Stardew Valley with bees. But I feel like it's not enough people have played enough like chill, casual games that there's no comparison because it's my weird brain and some of the chill games that I've played. And then just completely focused around beekeeping, which the more I made the game, the more I realised that there's not too many games that just go full on with bees. It's always like a little side thing to like a main mechanic.
Yeah. So as a follow up to that, then like why bees?
So it was actually me and my brother would play Minecraft quite a lot, and we played an old mod pack called. At the time it was called Tech It. It's now called Tech It Classic, which makes me feel very old, so thanks for that, Tech It. And one of the mods in that mod pack was a mod called the Forestry mod, which is about bees and also trees and like crossbreeding them to find other bees. And we'd be playing these like big multiplayer games, and he would be doing, Tech It's all about factories and digging these huge automated quarries, so he would be like destroying the earth one chunk at a time, and there's me like in a tree with a bunch of beehives like la 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 with my little bees, and the more I played that, the more it's kind of, this goes back to what I was saying of like we would play games and be like, oh, if only they had done this, if only they had done that. And I was playing this mod and being like, it's a cool idea of, slap two bees together and you might get a new bee, but there's just so much else that could be done with it. And one of the things was there was probably like 300-400 bees in this mod. And there was no real reason to get them apart from just as like a collect 'em all thing. So it's little things like that where I was like, you could be doing so much more and do it based on like environments and what's around them.
Yeah.
And turn it more into a puzzle by doing less of them. And then also just expand the whole beekeeping side of things rather than it just being like a Neko cat simulator, but for bees, which would be a fun game.
Classic thing is with software in general is seeing something going, I can do that better, and then doing it.
Yeah, it's that sort of casual arrogance that then I was like, yeah, I could totally, this mod would be a cool game. I'm
Yeah.
just going to go make a game. Like
Fair
it
enough.
was going to be done in a week or some shit, but it wasn't. It was just
Did you
a long
have
process.
Did you have any interest in bees before that?
Sort of, but like, I mean, from the gardening side of things, of
Mm-hmm.
like in real life, but not any sort of like not even knowledge. So I when I was thinking about this game, I was like, oh well, I'll just like look up real beekeeping, like real bees, and do a bunch of research that way. And
Yeah.
then the more you kind of looked into it, the more you realised there was like so much that you could cover if you were doing, even though you're like, oh, it's a game about bees, there is so much that you can do with that idea.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that jumped out to me is like I guess there's the part of me that so okay, I need to give a little bit of background here. In North America, the
Here we go.
honeybee, Apis mellifera, is is not actually native, and so it's here. I mean, we use it for research or for like agricultural purposes and pollination services that it provides, but because it's easier to manage that and like cart bees all over the place than it is to save the native bees that live in like the ground and stuff. But as a native bee researcher, I was always like kind of like miffed by honeybees. And then I started research in a honeybee lab and had to help out with the beekeeping. And I just gained an appreciation for that. And that was the number one thing that stuck out to me about this game is that, even though it's focused on, I mean, it's not even like a species of bee because you say that there are like forest bees and coast bees and all of this stuff, but like one lifestyle of bees, like one, like the social, there is a queen and they live in like in a place together, like a hive together. Even though it's like limited on that side, like it is so detailed in beekeeping and the actual way that you manage bees in beekeeping. And I was just blown away. And like, I know, Elle, you know about this, and I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, I actually like asked my advisor if we could use this for this honeybees and humans class that I was a TA for. I was like, I think that we should make the kids play this because this is so accurate. Like it's all of the things that you learn how to do when you're doing honey extraction, and like you have to put it in the frame in an uncapper, and then you have to like spin it around a bunch and do all these, and like it was just so, and like that there's different types of hives that you can use, and like if you use the regular hives then it just gets destroyed versus like the wax just gets destroyed versus if you like make a frame then you can reuse that frame a couple times, and and they can just fill them, and it's like a lot easier to get more product from them that way. And like the use of different flowers, like you have different flower types and everything. And I was just like, this game, like I feel like we should just have the kids play this game and then they learn like half the crap that we teach them.
Did you manage to get the kids to play the game? Do we need to do like an education edition?
The problem was that I like asked, so she gave me the green light, and then in one of the classes I just stood up and I was like, who here has a Steam account? And only like 3 out of 100 people raised their hand.
Oh no, we could have given you the non-Steam one.
Oh, I know, but I feel like having a Steam account or like that like shows interest in video games. So I was just like,
would they just feel like it's some boring education thing because they were forced to play it even though it's just a game?
Yeah, and it's one of those things like I was going to do it as an extra credit assignment, but the problem with doing an extra credit assignment that would only appeal to like a very limited scope of students is that it's just not very accessible to everyone. So I would have had to come up with like a different extra credit assignment as well. So we ended up not doing it, but I'll definitely let them know for future years if they are interested in using it. I won't be TAing it anymore, but that class is going forward. So, and still is taught. So I'll definitely let them know that you are willing to give non-Steam versions so that we
I
can
would say it's good to know
have
that
it be.
I didn't mess up too badly on my own
No,
self.
I mean, like the one.
Because thinking about it now, I'm like, I
Yeah,
should
the
have
one-
probably reached out to some real beekeepers first, rather than just like do it all
mean,
and then be like, is that okay? Yeah, okay, cool.
It felt like you did. Like when I was playing it, I was like, this person knows what they're talking about. And it seemed like it was more than just you read it on the internet. Like it seemed like you had gone out or like you were a beekeeper. So you fooled me.
It's great. Fake it till you make it.
So how did you go about that? Because I know you claim not to be an expert, and that's fine. But you clearly did a lot of research for this. So how did you go about that?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot of like start as you do, just on the wiki page, and then like following all like the different sources and stuff, and then I went on like a bunch of different sort of different like bee and beekeeper charity websites are normally pretty good at having their own like blogs, and sometimes they'll do like guest blogs and things like that. So it's kind of like reading bits and bobs of that as well, or watch some videos just on the general process, just to try and get an idea of it. Because like the forestry mod at the base level just had which isn't realistic at all, of just smacking two bees together and maybe you get a new bee. Which, although it's not realistic, it's a good way of gamifying that process, and using like Punnett squares to do the offspring, even though it's not really that accurate. It's kind of accurate in its own way of like, that is how it would kind of work if bees work that way, but they don't.
Well, I mean, I will say if ever you want to make it more accurate, one of my lab mates does honeybee genomics and like parental. Gosh, I'm trying to find a way to like dumb down what he does. He does like parental gene expression conflict. So basically, like you get genes from your mom and you get genes from your dad, and those genes might not agree with what they want to happen in the child, you know? So it's like which gene ends up winning.
So if
out.
he looked at the inheritance in APICO, he would have to go sit in a dark room for a while over it. over how simplified I make it.
I showed it to him and he was like, I mean, this is a good example of a Punnett square, but he did say like if ever you're interested in making it like more that part of the game more realistic to bees, that he would 100% be willing to sit down with you and explain.
Yeah, it'd be cool to like know
say,
what it is, to see like what could be done, because it is it's like we've tried to keep it that it's a game for kids. Like we've got the 3+ rating, so it's like trying to keep it like reasonably interesting that anyone would play it and not feel like it's.
You need a hardcore mode.
It's a kid's game. You need like hardcore genetics mode. Roguelike as
and I
well,
guess
where
I'll
you die if
explain.
you mess it up.
I guess I'll explain right now, like very basically, like why Punnett squares don't work for bees. So, there's two main reasons. The first one is that a Punnett square works really well if you are a diploid organism. So if you have 2 chromosomes and your parent has 2 chromosomes, and so your offspring has like these options, right? But bees are haplodiploid. So you either only have 1 chromosome and then you're a drone, a boy, or you have 2 chromosomes and you're a female. So it ends up that like these things it just doesn't work out with the Punnett square when you're haplodiploid. And then the other problem is that they multiply mate. So the females will get genetic material. I'm trying to get genetic material from multiple males in one flight. Like they will go fly, they'll get a bunch of genetic material from a bunch of males that they mate with, and then they use that they store it in their body, and then they use that genetic material so it's basically like picking out of a hat. So
you would have
females,
to like have the hives as they are in APICO, the queen process would have to be different, because right now technically we're bashing two drones together and they turn into a queen.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did, like, I did know that wasn't right. I did put in royal jelly at one point to try and be like, I do kind of know that that's not how it works.
Yeah. No,
but
and
yeah,
that's
so
totally
it wouldn't be
fine.
the
Like,
same of you'd have to then make that queen, and then I guess to gamify it, you would have to like use up like 5 to 10 bees, like a random amount of like add into the queen, and then it'd be like done, and then it would just pick from that pool of 5 to 10 to get its starting point.
Yeah. Yeah, the average is 12. So the average amount of males that the queen mates with is 12 during her virgin flight is 12. I mean, you could add a drone congregation. You could do so many things. Okay, getting off topic. But basically those are the problems, is that bees are haplodiploid, they're not diploid, and they so like a fertilized egg becomes a lady, and a male, and a unfertilized egg becomes a boy. And then also the multiple mating just makes it a little difficult. But I mean, like, you did what you did do, and again, like, it's hard. You just have to dissociate from real Apis mellifera, you know, like, and everything else is very, very accurate.
Which, I mean, we do cover ourselves, I believe.
I'm laughing, Cody, because I have no idea what words you just used there.
Apis mellifera is
we need
the European honeybee. It's your bee.
Fine.
It's our bee.
It's your bee.
That was quite an interesting lecture in bees.
Yes. Okay, I will move on to the next question. I'm sorry.
No, I think overall it was important.
Already mentioned,
but yeah, move on now.
Yeah. You've already mentioned Minecraft L as an influence, but are there any other like games that influenced your development of APICO?
Yeah, I was trying to think of, because I always say Minecraft and Terraria are kind of the big ones, but I think that's just because I play them the most. But I think it's just been a lot of like subconscious stuff from playing games in general and things that I wanted to see and how I liked things working. And at one point, like, I used to do UI design all the time. So the one thing that I do really like a lot with APICO was deciding to have it that you could just open as many menus as you want on PC. Later realised that was a nightmare for when I had to make a gamepad mode for console. But at the time I was like, yeah, this is really cool to be able to then, you know, have all of your chests open, all of your crates open, all the beehives open, and just have this. I mean, it just turns into some sort of hardcore menu management game that's kind of vaguely bee themed. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting because I feel like most of the kind of casual games are just the classic. You've got your inventory and then you open a crate and that's kind of it. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of play with the menus a bit more. And I have seen, which I'm going to credit to myself, is I did see another indie game on Twitter have that you could open a second menu, and they had a move around button that looked very similar to the icon. We have, so I was like, cool. That is, if that can encourage more games to have that, I would be so down for that because it's just so nice to be able.
First of all, I bet Al just heard inventory management and was just so excited.
That's basically what the game is.
It's his favorite thing.
There's some bees, I guess, but it's mostly just about having 30 menus open. Like, I'd love to see someone try and speedrun it. And it would just be them with so many windows open, just shift clicking like mad. Yeah, it'd be cool to watch.
I mean, I think that is I enjoyed that about APICO, the demo. How like you can open like 3 or 4 different things and then just target what you want to be like your receptive menu. So like receptive inventory. So yeah, I did really like that about this game. Okay, cool. So I have an idea about what one of the answers might be for this next question. But we're melding together what is the easiest part of the development process for you for this game, and then what has been the hardest?
The easiest part.
And if you want to start with hardest, I think I know what it is, but I could be wrong.
The easiest part. That was a tough one. Because, like I mentioned before, and if any person is listening to this thinking, oh, I want to make a game, do it, but know that it is horrible. The easiest thing is having the idea and being like, oh, I want to make this game, and you do this, and like coming up with the different features and some of the ideas. Like that's probably the easiest bit, is to be like, you could probably have a clear idea in your head how you want this to work. Like if you're going to build the ultimate game, that's probably easy to kind of think about that. That's kind of where the easy ends, I think, is just is the concept.
I also will say that I think that's probably only easy for a certain kind of brain. I think for some people that's probably very difficult. But yeah, I know the feeling. As a fellow software developer, the number of times I've gone, oh, here are these 10 ideas for things I want to do. Shame I don't have the time to do them.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think, like, what's been harder, it's like everything. Like, everything just ends up being way harder than you think it's going to be. I think especially, like, we're talking indie dev. It's me and my brother, but it's only me who does code in development. So there's no kind of, like, back and forth with that stuff, which when it comes to development, it's good to have, like, someone else, like, that can rub a duck off, and, or that they'll be...
that you can do what?
Have you not heard this? So there's a like I would say not practice, like a general concept called rubber ducking in development, which is where you explain what your code is doing to an inanimate object, preferably a rubber duck. And usually in explaining it, because you're basically, what it's doing is making you take the time to slowly read your logic out loud, and then you usually like realize where you've been an idiot, or when you say out loud, you're like, oh, actually that's not what I'm trying to do anyway. Yeah, it's called rubber ducking. So if you've got anything handy, you just tell it what you're up to, and they sit there silently judging you, and you realize what you did wrong.
That is the most software developer thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
But it is hilarious, though, because you go and do it to a person, right? And you're explaining, you're like, I can't figure this out. Help me with this. And you're explaining it. And then you stop talking. You go, never mind, figured it out. It happens all the time. It's crazy.
Oh, I do that. I have work sessions with other PhD students, and I'll be like, literally just like, I cannot figure out what word I want to use in the sentence. Here, I'll read the sentence to you. And then the second that I get to that point in the sentence, I'm like, oh, I know what it is. Never mind.
All you need
so
now
I
is
get
just
that. I've
replace
just
the
never
human
heard
with a rubber duck, and then the transformation is complete. You don't even.
I have never heard that before. Okay.
So yeah, if you have like another dev, like obviously you can kind of talk about stuff, and there's not. I don't really know any other devs using GameMaker, so that kind of limits the. When there's a really big issue, it's really hard to get things sorted out. So yeah, kind of so many things, and like the bug fixes that would be, especially when it was first using the engine. Like with software, like on the platforms that I develop on, if I see an error, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I've kind of seen that over the years, and you kind of get this sort of vague muscle memory of what caused it. But when it's this new engine and it has its own language. Called GameMaker language, so it's errors that I wouldn't recognise for a while when I was building it in GameMaker last year, that would just take so long to then kind of fix that. And then finally, just to cap off, what's been hardest is console ports. Is just I several breakdowns over the nightmare that is console port. It's unbelievable, and I'm trying to. I know that loads of stuff's under NDA, but I can vaguely talk about how horrible it is for all of the platforms. And it would just be things like, one platform will just decide it won't load files. The same way that files load on every other platform. One platform will just be like, no, I don't do it like that.
Classic.
So you'll be like, okay, why? How do you want it then? And then another thing will just be like, oh yeah, we don't... like load JSON files the same way. And I'm like, how can you not load it the same way? That's a universal format. And they're like, yeah, we just don't do that. It's like, okay, great.
That's just not how we do it.
Sounds like web development in the 90s.
Yeah, it'd just be like, oh yeah, we just don't do that. We don't implement that. Be like, what do you mean you don't? What am I? Okay, great. And like, there's the GameMaker support, but then obviously the you're then waiting on them to see if they can work stuff out. And some of the like the approval processes on console. So we've got multiplayer, which is my biggest regret. I don't know why I decided agreed to do this. But just getting that approved was like such a nightmare of all the boxes they want ticked and all the checks that they wanted to make and all the security and cross-platform. Like Xbox were just like, yeah, sure, you want to do cross-platform? Happy days. Nintendo were like, okay, we're watching you. Here's 10 forms to fill in and we'll check. And PlayStation were like, detail the entire server and how everything works, and then maybe we will let you have crossplay. And it's like, Jesus Christ, all right, fine.
Just trying to let people play bees together. Geez.
And it's like they don't have the concept. We're like, when we're saying we want to do crossplay multiplayer, they're probably thinking like lobbies, MMOs, and it's like, no, you need to play the game to realise it's a silly bee game, and you just join your friend's world, and that's the limit of multiplayer. Yeah. We're not doing like these big lobbies and chat rooms and all this stuff.
The other thing you've mentioned recently that might have been difficult, or at least interesting, was the ESRB thing. So you want to talk about that?
It's little things like it all adds up, and I think that's what people don't realise with games. I mean, even in AAA games, just everything ends up taking way more time, and you just don't know how long things are going to take. Like right now, it sounds mad, but people are like, "Oh, when's the release date going to be?" And the honest answer is, I don't know. Like, I don't know when we're going to release, because we have to submit to each console, and when the console finally approves it, which is like a back and forth process where they test the game and say what they do or don't like. It could be like they don't like how the controller is shown on their platform, which they have the right to just be like, no, we don't like that, so unless you change it, you can't get approved. And when you finally get approval from all of them, then you'll get like a range of dates to be like, this is when you can release. So you got to like triage that. So yeah, I don't even know when we're going to release. But yeah, the ESRB one was a mad one, because that was, we filled in the form to get the rating for APICO, and it was like, rated M, mature, 17 plus. And I was like, are you serious? Like, have you seen our game? All these pastel greens, and you're sitting in a field with some bees, and you want to give it a 17 plus. But it's because we had mead in the game, and then it got counted as alcohol reference, alcohol usage, frequent usage, glorified usage, because drinking the mead gives you special effects. And all these things added up, and they whacked us with a M rating. We ended up I was furious at this point. But Jamie said we would change. I was trying to think of a name, and because I was so annoyed, I was like, we're just going to call it Honey Aid. Like, I don't even care. It's lame. I just want it changed because it annoyed me. But Jamie said we should call it APICOla, which was a stroke of genius. So we changed it to that and resubmitted it and got the E rating 3+.
Yay!
Which is what you want. But it's things like that you just, the last thing I expected was to get that and then have to change every reference of mead in the game.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
That's funny.
Well, I know that I'm going to appreciate having it. I'm definitely buying in on at least 2 of the platforms
I would love to have
that it's on
Switch.
So
this is the ultimate goal.
So
is I've just wanted to make this game for myself, to play it on my own Switch. And if other people like it, that's cool. But as long as I get it on the Switch, I'll be happy.
No, I'll have it on Steam for sure. But then I want it on the Switch because I want it. That'll probably be my primary game thing. I do like having it on my Steam though, is because like if I'm at the office and I just want to like unwind for like a half an hour, I have pulled this game up and just played it for a half an hour.
That's what I like to hear.
And it's one of those like, if my advisor pops by, I can be like, yeah, I'm playing this like B game.
Yes, it's like B education. I'm learning. So
yeah, like look at this cool thing that I'm playing. Yep, doing research.
And they're like, how's the genetics work in that? You're like, don't look at that bit.
Don't look at it.
As a point about the release dates, I will say that anyone who listens to the podcast knows I have very strong opinions about release dates. So I think you're going the right way. Don't really announce a release date until it's actually ready, because the
Yeah, I
amount
mean,
of
even
times.
saying this year, I feel like I'm like, oh, should we have said this year? Which I'm joking, but also
Yeah,
I'm like, touch wood,
yeah,
like, please,
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
is nuts, and I think we did say quarter 1 originally. Has always been the aim,
yeah,
and I'm like looking at my calendar now, like, there's not much left of quarter 1.
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know, but again, it might surprise us. I mean, we submitted to Xbox on Friday, last Friday, and Monday they had already got back to us like, hey, change this thing in multiplayer so we can test it.
that's good.
So you don't know how quick they're going to be or
Yeah,
how slow.
I know
And
that.
there was little things like we had some issues with Game Maker itself that we had to like raise with Game Maker, and they had to like fix in the engine.
Oh wow.
So then we were like
Yeah.
waiting for that fix, and we can't do anything. So
You
it's
know you're
just,
using something properly when you have to raise a bug and get it fixed.
yeah. And I think
Yeah.
Game Maker support probably have me blacklisted now. Whenever my name pops up, they're like, oh, not him again. If you ever listen to this,
This
Fritz
guy.
of Game Maker support, I'm very sorry, and I appreciate you.
You are the real MVP, Fritz.
But yeah, so it's things like that. But yeah, it's just mad. As a gamer, I'd always be like, why do these things take so long? And two, how can you not know
Yeah.
when you're going to release? You made the game. How do you not know? And now I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see. I don't know.
Literally every indie game does it. They announce a vague release time and then they have to delay it by 6 months. And you're just like, just don't do it. You don't need to.
Just don't say.
Nobody.
Which is what I'm going to do with the second game. I'm
Yeah.
just never going to say.
Well,
And
that's the
one
thing.
day I'll
You
be
do-
like, hey, it's out now.
you
And
do
be
it-
like, what? And be like, yeah.
You do so I don't know whether you're aware of this, but the developer of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, he's working on a new game, and basically all he said is, "Hey, it's about a chocolate factory," and that's basically it. And he's like, not
Yeah.
telling you when it's releasing. Like he's not even given a year, or like it could be in 10 years. We don't know. So it's absolutely the
Which
way
is
to go.
very correct. He has nailed it.
Yeah.
It's the
Which
way
is
to
what
do
I've
it.
already done with the second game. Is we're working towards like an MVP, like a demo.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, when's the demo out? And I'm like, don't know. Might be
I'll
this
tell
year,
you
might
when
be
it's
next
ready.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you when
Keep-
you've got it downloaded.
Yeah.
Then you'll know.
Keep checking
Yeah.
back.
So obviously, we don't at this point know when it's going to be released, but this podcast will be releasing once we know that. We're hoping to release this
Oh
around
my
about.
god, Future L, you know when it's released. Listening back
Amazing.
to this.
So
You'll know.
we will tell you in the rest of the podcast when it is releasing. It'll either be just about to come out or already out. But my question is, do you have a secret that you haven't shared with anyone yet about the game
Secrets.
that you'd like to share with us? Anything
What
at all?
secrets have I got? We've got some new update. I've talked to some people about this, but also I don't think anyone reads my Ko-fi post, so I think you're right. So,
I read your
so you
Ko-fi
probably already know.
post.
I want to do. There's two like updates that I want to do for the game, and it's kind of been stuff that's either I kind of wanted to do originally, or it just kind of got pushed out. Like it's already I made a game that was too big. So there was a lot of stuff that I was like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I need to not add this, not think about it, because otherwise we'll just never get done. So I want to do an update that's more about pollinators in general. And what we're thinking for that is to add in butterflies in general that are kind of a bit like a collectible, like appear at different times and different conditions and basically just checking a book. But I also want to go more into like solitary bee side of things, because like we said earlier, we kind of covered hive-based bees quite a lot, and there's quite a few beekeeping charities will kind of tell you it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can save the bees, but if you're focusing on the honeybees, there's a lot of other bees out there that could kind of do with a bit more help. So we kind of want to do a bit more stuff with solitary bees. So I'm at the moment trying to plan how we're going to do some of the mechanics for that to try and make it fun. That it's
Yeah.
that they're not hive based at all, so it kind of doesn't work with the current system. So adding in something new for that. I kind of like the idea of someone that you meet very early who like takes your nan's bee book, which is the main guide in the game, and is like, God, you think there's only hives to beekeeping? You know nothing, and like backhands you and scribbles over your bee book and like adds in all this solitary bee stuff just to kind of match real life of, you know, what the same sort of thing. Obviously, you can't just be focusing on honeybee stuff. So I think that'd be good. And then the other update I want to do is more to do with the ocean, and this is where I've got unhinged at this point, so I'm just adding whatever I want. So I want to do like an ocean update where, first of all, I want to add fishing, because I've been told that I have to add fishing to this game.
They are the bees of the sea,
game for
you
it.
know.
Well, and I'm going to make it that you only fish up bees, because this is a world where, you know, bees are everywhere and there's a god of bees. So obviously bees live in the water in APICO land. Don't at me.
Another thing that you could do with the ocean, my advisor, Dr. Harland Patch, he, in the Honeybees and Humans class that I TA'd, he basically talked about how there were these two main systems that were like responsible for most biodiversity explosions in the world. And the terrestrial one is pollinators and plants, because like when pollinators started pollinating plants, and then all these flowers like evolved, and then these pollinators co-evolved with them and stuff, like because of the fact that flowers exist, other things were able to also evolve. The ocean one is coral reefs.
Yeah, I do want to do some little coral reefs, which is going to be fun to try and add. I, for some reason, past me decided to add world generation to APICO, even though no one notices it or comments on it. So every world is like randomly generated. So then it's going to be a nightmare for me to try and add like new sections to the map or new things to the existing map without like eating someone's base, like just cutting someone's base in half to add a new area. So that's going to be fun.
Well, I mean, if you do it in the ocean, like if it's just like suddenly you can look under the ocean. Well, see,
this is, and I mean, I either told people in Discord or you've just stolen my brain. Have you played Pokemon Emerald or third gen, where you can like dive in the deep patches? Yeah. I'm gonna do that, and you're gonna have a little diving, like old school diving helmet on a big bit of string, and you can just run around the ocean floor. And obviously, there's bees down there.
Obviously.
But then that also uses up the land like on the surface that you wouldn't really build on in a normal game. So it kind of gives us like double the space, because there's all this like unused underground area that we can do stuff with.
You could put like restoration of coral reefs like in there, like maybe because on land you're restoring like planting flowers everywhere for the bees. So you could restore, like have a coral reef that's just like a freaking Corsola, like it's just like dead Corsola, like just absolutely destroyed, right? And then like you can help. I'm so not educated in coral reefs, but like
I'll need to read a few wiki pages again, I think.
Yeah, like things you can do to like make it healthy again, and then you have more, and like it could be bees, like you have these underwater bees, and then the more you restore the coral reef, the more bees. Yeah,
underwater bees. I like, it sounds silly, but I did Google like water bees, because I was like, is there water bees? Are they real? And then it was like, no, obviously not. And it's like, yeah, obviously not.
I love the idea of like, of Google just being like, obviously not. Come on.
Yeah, didn't even come up with any search results. It was like, obviously not.
Yeah, no, I think like you'd only have things like dragonflies.
Yeah, you get stuff kind of near the water, but I mean, I'm going all in with the bee theme, so we've got to have underwater bees. And someone said that obviously we need to do like the classic every game that runs out of ideas does an update in space. And just the idea of space bees just sounds incredible to me.
Do you realize you're
with their little
Do you realize you're
helmets.
Accidentally becoming a climate activist? Just
yeah,
you thought it was a joke, but it's all just happening.
Yeah, and one of the things as well that as it kind of developed, I was like people are enjoying the game and enjoying playing it, and it's like it would be a waste of it's not a big one, but as a platform, this game, there is some opportunity for us to do some good with it. So we are trying to get hold of. It's surprisingly difficult to give money away, which sounds crazy. But email any charity and say that you want to give away money and get greeted with a whole bunch of crap. So we tried to talk to a bunch because I basically want to get together like a pool of different. I'll message you about this, Codey, just to try and get some like a range of charities. Obviously UK because that's where we're based, but just international, and America, just sort of beekeeping conservation charities, and try and do like a donation of the like a % of the profits that we make from the game, to go to that charities, because we've got this opportunity to kind of like bring some awareness when I'm not posting really bad photoshopped memes on Twitter. We could be doing something with it, so I kind of wouldn't want to waste that. So yeah, the more that I work on this game, the more I'm turning into some eco beekeeping hippie.
I love it though. The question that I have for you that's not on here, but you shouldn't. This is okay. let me dial it back.
Yes, so I think a hot dog is a sandwich.
Okay, but I have seen that on Discord you have posted this like bee plush.
Oh yes.
How much is that going to be? I think you just said that it was going to end up being like...
I think it's $25 or $30 is what Makeshift will do. So for anyone that doesn't know, in the game, in APICO, I drew there's little like bees that fly around. But the game is all pixel art, so they are tiny, and it's literally 4 pixels. It's like black pixel, yellow pixel, black pixel, and then a little white pixel on top, like a Tetris shape. And it's so silly, but it's adorable to watch them. And we went to Makeshift because Whitethorn was doing a deal for all of their games, our publisher, and Makeshift just do plushies, but they like kickstart it, and they've turned that little tiny pixel bee into like the chunkiest bee you've ever seen. They've stuffed it so much as well, it's ridiculous. It's like it's foot so long. Cute. It's incredible. So yeah, when we come to release, when we finally know when that happens, we'll be doing that campaign. So basically, as long as enough people buy 1 or 2 or 10, they'll get made, and yeah, it's going to be great because it is just I
definitely want one. And I also want the stickers. I saw a bunch of the stickers too, and they were really cute.
If you're a developer, you could buy the plushy bee, and that could be your rubber duck. So, just saying. I know I talk to it. Wow. You could talk to it too.
Okay, so moving off of APICO and just like some final questions for you here. The first one that I actually added this in because you keep mentioning this other game, but tell us about it. What's going on with that?
So yeah, I don't know why I thought I'd do another game. This is one of the
and here I'm talking about the game you're actually actively already developing, not Codey Learn How to Take Care of Your Houseplants, the game.
The other game.
Which we'll work on,
we'll
but
get to that one.
The one that you're already working on.
So clearly I like something about game dev because I finished APICO back in October. So I haven't done any new things to APICO since October, which is just how long the whole process with the console ports has been. To give some context for that, so I decided, well, obviously I loved that so much, I'm going to do another one. But it was quite good because, like we're saying about starting a new project to give you that sort of creative outlet is kind of what I needed when everything APICO related was like bug fixes and consoles just sending me more forms to fill in. So it's nice to kind of have that outlet. So we'd had an idea a while ago that we wanted to do like a factory game. Because for me, I think that would be like interesting as a technical challenge to like develop a factory game. Because Factorio must have some crazy stuff going on in the background. because you have these huge worlds that are still, they're working when you're off screen. So like, how are they managing all of that? Just seemed interesting to me. And Jamie, my brother, was saying about he liked the idea of in sort of old legends where you have there's like a dragon on the edge of the town, and the only reason it doesn't kill the villagers is because they like sacrifice someone to it. And he was like, it'd be better if it was like they were just cooking it a nice meal and that stopped it getting angry. And I was like, oh my god, we've got to do the feeding the monsters, and then we could call it Feed the Beasts. And he was like, yeah. So it was just to get the pun name. But yeah, I drew some like concept art for it, and we were like, yeah, that could be really cool. Basically just doing like 2D Factorio, but all your factories are to make like, I don't know, like 1,000 cheesecakes a second, to feed this like gribbly monster that's like, yes, more cheesecakes, please. So it's
AKA me.
yeah, it's our sort of like silly humor again. And it would be a lot of the menu stuff. Like I kind of want to reuse some of the stuff that we have for APICO to try and make it that it's like our style of game. But yeah, I just think it would be a fun one. But yeah, with that one, I'm never telling anyone a date until it's already out. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, it came out yesterday. That's the plan.
Cool.
Fair enough. Okay, well, before we wrap this up, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you want to share? Anything at all?
Don't make a game. That's my advice.
Fair enough.
No, I think that kind of covers everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
And finally, how can people find out more, both about the game or either game, or you in general? Where can people find you on the internet?
So we've got a website for APICO, which is apico. And I'm not joking, .buzz, which is incredible that's a domain. It's clearly meant to be.
Meant to be.
Yeah, see, 2 in 1. So yeah, if you go to apico.buzz, that's kind of got everything. There's all our links, and there's some info on like the charity stuff, and our little press kit and things like that. But for the most part, I'm kind of on Twitter all the time with really badly edited like Photoshop memes. Then that's basically all I'm doing with this account at the moment, because there's no game content to release. So I'm just taking like the Cowboy Bebop manga cover and changing it to Cowboy Bebop and making all the characters look like these. So yeah, if you like that sort of stuff, and eventually at one point that Twitter account will say that we're being released with a release date. But yeah, it's the main place. We've got a Discord, and we've got a Guilded, which not many people use, but we kind of use that as like a forums hub. So it's pretty good for that. But yeah, that's kind of everywhere.
Cool.
I will also mention that the music for APICO is also already available on Spotify.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to our composer, Moffence. They did an incredible job with the soundtrack. I really wanted to capture that, like how Minecraft just have the little one-off songs playing randomly. And the mood of the songs that Moffence did is just perfect. So yeah, it's on Spotify and Bandcamp. I think it's on everything. I think all of the platforms. Yeah. There's also a B-sides. Of course there is, which is all the stuff that I kind of Moffence would send me, and I'd be like, no. And then we just put it in like a B-sides album, because it's stuff that would kind of work. But I was just very picky of what I was trying to put in the game.
I mean, I love the music. I've told Muffins this on the Discord that like if I'm struggling to focus at work, like reading a paper or something like that, I will literally just put the APICO music on my Spotify.
Yeah, they did
and
such a good job. It's all like piano-y and strings, and it's just all super chill.
Well, they also like really showed up one day when I was like, man, I'm not seeing enough like heavy metal deathcore stuff.
Yeah.
And they like made one and put it on the Discord, and no joke, it is my ringtone.
Yeah, it was
now.
like metal, but they did the sample of the guitar was bees buzzing very loudly.
Yeah, it was like buzzing, and like it just It all just sounds like it's buzzing, and then like it sounds like what would happen if you were being chased by bees, like what would go on in your brain if you were being chased by bees or something. Like, and it's like what the bees are like singing while they're chasing you. They're just like me. It's so good. I was so blown away.
There was a good one as well. We did a post on April Fool's being like, "Oh, we're adding wasps to the game. We love wasps. They're the best thing ever." And they made like a track that sounded like a normal, nice APICO track with a nice bit of piano, and it just slowly fades into the loudest buzzing you've ever heard, and like the classic like horror piano sounds where it's like really discordant chord, like dum 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 dum. And they were like, "Yeah, this is the new track for the Wasp update." It's great.
I will say though, bees are wasps.
I don't want to hear the W word, thank you.
Okay. I'm just as someone that studies these things,
banned.
I'm like obligated to mention. No. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We'll have links to all of those things in the show notes. So if you want to find out more, you can find them there. And go buy APICO. Thank you, Elle, for joining us so much. It was great.
And thanks so much for having me.
And I hope the launch goes well.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. I hope by the time this comes out as well, I'll be a completely different person. I would be calm and everything's better now. But right now I'm like, I can't imagine that. So I'm going to be listening back to this, be like, oh, bless you. Everything worked out next week. That'd be weird.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I know we certainly enjoyed recording it at the time.
And I look forward to the indoor plant simulating game that Elle is going to design for me. Because I haven't killed my monstera yet. It's been a couple months since we recorded that, and I haven't killed it. And actually, one of my plants has a new flower on it. So maybe I'm not doing as bad as I thought I was, but I would still like a game that taught me how to take care of my indoor plants.
Yeah.
So
I have actually found an app since that recording that it does a similar. I mean, it's not a game, but it's called Planty, and it's quite good at kind of showing you what you need to do, and it kind of sets you reminders. I can't remember whether that was in the interview or not. Probably not.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a good app. I haven't actually bought any plants. I want to buy plants though now. Since then.
Well, I am now downloading this app, but I still want Elle to make me one.
You want a cross between Planty and Plant Daddy
and APICO.
And okay. Anyway, yeah. So thanks, Elle, for chatting to us. It's always good to have an interview. And if you want to buy the game, go buy it. Unless you're waiting for it to go on Switch, but you should really buy it multiple times unless you can't afford. Obviously, in which case, sorry.
Prioritize.
Hopefully it will come out soon on Switch.
System works best for you. Yeah.
So yeah. Codey, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, this is the annual, when I look at my Twitter to figure out my handle. It's just my name. So it's at Codey Mathis, CODEYMATHIS.
See, the reason I normally ask people is because like they're the ones that know off the top of their head. Maybe I should have just said it for you because I did know it was just your name. So
you should just put it in in the show notes for me.
I should have. Okay.
Yeah. Next time.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at the ScottBot. Scott has one T. You can find the podcast on Twitter at THSPod. You can email us from our website, harvestseason.club. You can also find links to everything else related to the podcast, including our Patreon, where you can subscribe and get extra episodes of the podcast that we call The Greenhouse, where we talk about random things that aren't related to farming most of the time. In the next episode of The Greenhouse, we will be talking about Eurovision and whether we are happy or not with certain situations. And you can hear Codey complain about Germany.
Yes, I will be complaining very loudly about Germany.
And
there will be full
not
spoilers.
The country as a whole. We're kind of over that.
I mean, I'm disappointed in them for how they handled their Eurovision stuff.
It's all right. I'm sure that you'll consider that the karma
mostly
happened when they got 6 points.
That's all they got.
Hey, it's more than they got last year.
Oh no. Oh, that's so terrible.
I think that's everything. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, Codey, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time, have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our Pro Farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.
I think this might be the first time we've had an English accent on the podcast. I think.
Oh, what a treat!
Because I think it's mostly been American people with a couple of Canadians.
I mean, it's definitely a treat for me over here. I'm just like, whoo.